Me. Okay, everybody, let's get started. As I said, I am sitting on the floor at the airport, so you may hear some background noise, people running up and down, announcements, but it is what it is. I'm coming to you regardless of what's going on in my life. Okay, so let's kick off. So I want you guys to picture this. So we're talking about feel the fear and do it anyway. So picture this. I am standing on a platform. It was about 100 meters above the ground. And for those of you who attended the 1% event on Friday, many of you would have done this too. Okay. So I'm standing there, I'm looking around. I can see white cliffs. I can see the lake. I can see about half a mile of steel cable stretching out in front of me. And my harness is clipped in. The instructor is standing there and he's smiling like this is the easiest thing in the world. But all I can hear is my heart pounding because I am terrified of heights and I am terrified of fast things, okay? And every muscle in my body is screaming, Michelle, you don't have nothing to prove. You really don't need to do this. Okay, because you see, I am not an adrenaline junkie in any form or fashion. I don't do roller coasters. I don't chase danger. But yet there I was, thanks to my mentor, about to do the UK's highest and fastest zip wire. Why? Because I decided to face the fear and do it anyway. And let me tell you something, the fear that I felt, it didn't leave. It came with me right up onto the edge of that platform. Okay. But this is the thing, and I want you guys to realize this courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is saying, fear, you can ride along, but you're not going to be in the driver's seat today. So there I was, still terrified. But 5 seconds later, I was flying. I was literally flying. Okay. The wind hit my face. The view was there. It was in front of me. And I realized all of a sudden, oh my God, this is absolutely amazing. Okay. The fear didn't go away because I got to the top, but it melted away because I climbed to the top. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. Because maybe, just maybe, your next breakthrough, your next win, your next level is sitting on the other side of the thing that you are most afraid to do. So I want you to think about this evening. What is your zip wire? What is your fear? What is holding you back? Now, for those of you who don't come onto my calls very often, I love lots of interaction. During this call, I'm going to call out numbers and I'm going to expect you to drop the numbers in the chat. And the more hyped I get, the better session you get. So drop a 1 in the chat if you are ready to face the fear, whatever that fear is. Drop a 1 in the chat if you are ready to face the fear. Now, Lucy, Melanie, Lauti, Rayhan, Jane, James, Bali, Vandana, I see those ones coming through. And drop a 2 in the chat if you are ready to face the fear and do it anyway. And I am seeing Lisa, Angela, Terry, Lauti, Mayati, Cheryl, James, Carly. I am seeing those 2s coming in. Right, so let's kick it off. Let me formally introduce myself. My name is Michelle Jenny, and I am here to motivate you. So today, more than ever, after Friday, confidence on, doubt off, let's go. So I'm a wife and a mother. I'm also an identity mentor and a performance coach, and I work with women over the age of 35. I'm also a serial entrepreneur and an award-winning motivational speaker, but it was not always like this. I used to be shy. I used to be timid. I used to let my fears rule me. But through mentorship, I have been able to pick myself up and I remembered the person I was meant to be. And now I help others who are just like me, who are just like you to do the same, build up your confidence and your self-esteem so you can go on to achieve your goals. So you can choose to pay attention over the next 30 minutes or so. That is, of course, your choice. I recommend that you do pay attention and if you can, minimize your distractions and listen with an open mind. And if you're anything like me, you're going to want to grab a pen and some paper because you are going to want to take some notes this evening, ladies and gentlemen. So let me kick it off with the first one. Fear is the gatekeeper. Now, let me explain. Every time you've wanted to level up, whether it's in business, whether it's in life, whether it's personal growth, fear has been there waiting for you at the door. And here's the thing. Fear isn't a brick wall. Fear is a gatekeeper. It's there to ask one question. How badly do you want what is on the other side? When I was on that zip wire platform, fear was standing right there with me. Not as a voice saying this is dangerous. It wasn't about the danger. It was more of a voice saying to me, you don't have to do this. You can stay here. Nobody's forcing you. And that is exactly how fear works in your everyday life. Okay. It wants to keep you in what's comfortable. But your comfort zone does not create breakthroughs, ladies and gentlemen. That fear signal, that fear that you feel, those butterflies in your stomach, that's a sign that you are close to growth. So I need you to frame fear because it's often a green light and not a red one. Fear shows up when you are about to do something that matters. It's like your body's way of saying, hey, we're about to step into unfamiliar territory. So get ready. Okay. And this is where most people fail because they see fear as a stop sign. It is not a stop sign. Okay. If you never go through that gatekeeper of fear, you will never see what is waiting for you on the other side. Fear is not your enemy. I need you to remember that. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is proof that you're playing at a level worth showing up for. It means that there's something valuable waiting for you if you just take that first step forward. So drop a 1 in the chat if you're willing to take that first step forward towards your fear. You're willing to face up to it. Nahama, Melanie, Andrew, Rayhan, I am seeing those ones coming through. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And fear doesn't leave before you take the leap, okay? It leaves because you take the leap. Always remember that, which is going to bring me to my next part. Why waiting to feel ready isn't the biggest trap that you're going to fall into. There's a myth. There is a myth. And ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who signed in a little bit late, I'm just going to say again, I am at the airport sitting on the floor, so you're going to hear lots of background noise and announcements and stuff like that, okay? So that's why you can hear all the buzzing in the background. So the second thing we're talking about is the myth of readiness. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves. I'll do it when I'm ready. Here's the problem with that line. Ready, it rarely comes. It rarely comes. If you're waiting for the fear to disappear, if you're waiting for the stars to align, the perfect timing to magically show up, you're just going to be waiting forever, right? When I was standing on that platform on Friday, I was not, trust me, I was not ready. My knees were shaking. My palms were sweating. My heart was in my throat. Listen, I was there with my daughter next to me thinking, what kind of mother am I that I am bringing my child onto a platform that is 100 meters in the air and we're going to dive face first off of it? I was like, I'm a bad example of parenting, okay? Don't follow my example. But if I waited to calm down before I lay down on that platform, I would still be standing there right now. I would never have made that step forward to lie down on the platform because confidence and courage doesn't come first. Action does. People think that they need confidence before they act. People think that they need courage before they act. Confidence is the reward for taking action. Speaking on your first presentation, you're going to be nervous the first time, but every time you do it, you're going to get better because you build confidence by moving, not by waiting. Okay? The thing is, you need to come out of your comfort zone. Okay, so when you say things to yourself like, I just need more time to prepare, I'll start when I have money. They sound feasible, but they're just comfort zone excuses. So instead of waiting to be ready, start before you're ready. Start messy. Because the truth is, the real magic happens in doing. So drop a 2 in the chat if you're ready to start where you are. Okay, if you're ready to learn, to grow, and to prove to yourself that you can do what you are most fearful of. And I'm seeing those twos, Bali, Carly, Roslyn, Bridget, Terry, James. I am seeing those twos. Ready to go, go, go. Fear is an illusion. Vandana, Julia, Angela. I am seeing those twos coming through. You're ready to start messy. And as I said, if I'd waited to feel ready on the platform, I would have missed out on the most exhilarating moment of my life, which is why sometimes you just have to jump scared, because you might be surprised at how much you actually enjoy the journey once you take that first step. I wish I could tell you that when they released that harness that I was full of bravery and that I was calm, but no, I was terrified. You're going to see the video a little bit later. You're going to see how terrified I was. That fear didn't disappear before I started down the line. That fear that I was feeling, it came with me. And as soon as I started, those first about 5 seconds were pure chaos in my mind. I was like, what have I done? Is there a way to turn back? Can I put the brakes on? But then something incredible happened. The wind hit my face and I started to fly. And in that moment, I realized that if I had waited until I felt fearless, I would have missed out on that experience. The beauty of being that high up, the rush, the laughter that I really did not expect to feel as I was going down that zip wire. And here's the lesson that I want to take from this one. I want you guys to take from this. Joy doesn't wait on the other side of fear. Joy is hidden inside the leap into the fear. Okay. So speaking in public, your heart is going to start to race, but you're going to leave that stage buzzing. I'm telling you, I leave these calls every single week buzzing, because growth doesn't happen in comfort. The fear you feel now is an indicator. It's an indicator that the experience that you're about to step into is going to be transformative. Okay, so don't wait for fear to leave you before you move, because that's not where the magic happens. Step into whatever it is that you need to do scared and let that joy surprise you. So drop a 3 in the chat if you're ready for joy to surprise you. If you're ready to step out scared and enjoy the exhilaration, the wind in your face, whatever it is. And I am seeing Stella, James, Lauti, Lisa, Julia, Carly, Bali, Vandana. I am seeing those threes coming in. And once you've taken that leap, something else happens. Your fear threshold changes. And the more you face those moments, the braver you become. And that's why we can say that fear is a muscle that you can train. Fear is a muscle that you can train. People think that brave people are born that way, but they're not. Someone said to me on Friday, I'm so surprised that you're scared, Michelle. You're such a lioness. And I'm like, yeah, scared lioness. Because bravery and courage is a muscle, and the more you use it, the stronger it gets. So the first time you do something scary, your whole body reacts. And the second time, it's still scary, but you get over it a little bit faster, right? But by the time you do that scary thing 10 times, you're barely gonna flinch. If I only ever faced fear once every 5 years, that zip wire would have completely crushed me. I would never have done it. But because I've trained myself over the years, from public speaking, which apparently is the biggest fear, I don't think so. I would rather public speaking over heights any day. But I've trained myself over the years, public speaking, launching new programs, saying yes to opportunities that I wasn't ready for. My fear muscle is strong enough for me to carry myself through the fear, and it was strong enough to help me get off of that platform. So every time you feel fear, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think like this. I want you to bulletproof yourself and say, I can do hard things. Because every time you say that, you begin to trust yourself in scary moments instead of freezing. Okay. And listen, this is the thing, right? You don't need to do something major. You don't have to like jump out of a plane to build your fear muscle, you know. You could start with something that scares you just a little bit. and you can build from there. And every time you move scared, you become stronger to take the next leap. So drop a 4 in the chat. If you're ready to train your fear muscle, you are ready to start small. You're ready to start messy and go from there. Rayhan, James, Stella, Rosalind, Bally, Louty, Jane, Lucy, Nahama, Miyati, I'm seeing all of these 4s coming through. And I see you coming in there. Amazing. I'm seeing those 4s coming in. But here's the thing. When you keep showing up to fear, something amazing happens. You stop letting your fear make your decision for you, right? And when you stop letting your fear make your decision for you, you get to take your power back, because fear isn't the problem. Letting fear make your decisions for you, that is the real problem. Because the moment you let fear decide, you have given up control of your own life. If I had let fear decide for me on Friday, yeah, I wouldn't be delivering this session tonight, that's for sure. And I would have watched all the other people slip past me from the viewing gallery, and with the smiles on their faces when they would have had their moment, and I would never have had mine. But just think about it. Isn't that how life works? You see other people doing things that you dream about, and deep down, you know, the only difference between you and them is that they took the leap, right? Because the real cost of letting fear win is you miss opportunities that may never come around again. You stay stuck in your same old cycles. You start believing that you're not the person that you want to be or that you could be. And you start to shrink in your own identity. And regret builds. And let me tell you this, regret is far heavier to carry than fear. Okay? Regret is far heavier. Missing out on something and regretting something that you can never get back, that stings more than anything else. So I want you to take your power back by flipping the script. So instead of, I can't do that, or I'm too scared, I want you to start thinking, I'm scared, which means I have to do it. And that's something that I said on Friday. I am scared. I am terrified shitless, but I know I have to do it because I am terrified shitless. Stop thinking about what if I fail and start thinking about what if I fly? What if I succeed? Okay? Every time you choose to move despite being scared, you are reclaiming a little piece of yourself. You are telling fear, I got this. Like, I'm going to do it, right? And that's when you start living your life. That's when you start living your best life on your terms, okay? Because the truth is, courage doesn't always come big and loud. Sometimes courage is that quiet whisper that you get that says to you, just do it anyway. What have I got to lose? And the more you listen to that voice that says, just do it, or screw it, just do it, which is, I love that saying, the more unstoppable you become. And the more you realize that courage is actually a choice. It's not a feeling. It's a choice that you make over and over and over again, no matter how scared you are. Again, people assume that courageous people feel no fear. They feel the fear just like everybody else does. They just make a different decision. They choose action. They choose movement. They choose the leap, right? So standing on that platform, I had two choices. Stay in safety, right? Or step into courage. And in that moment, the courage to step onto that to lie down on that platform, it didn't feel like fireworks. That wasn't the courage I was feeling at that moment. It felt like gulping, screaming in my head, and stepping forward anyway. And that's the truth about most courageous moments. They're going to be messy. They're going to be sweaty. They're going to be awkward. They're going to be terrifying, but they're also going to be life-changing. So the next time fear shows up, don't wait for it to leave. Don't wait to feel ready. Just decide. Decide you're going to be courageous. Choose to leap. Choose the moment that's going to make you proud of yourself a year from now. Okay, so drop a 6 in the chat if you are ready to face your fears. You are ready to take that leap. You're ready to choose the moment. You're ready to be proud. And I'm seeing those sixes coming through. I am seeing those sixes coming through because at the end of the day, courage isn't about not being scared. Okay, courage isn't about not being scared. It's about deciding that something else matters more than your fear. And that's how you change your life. So, ladies and gentlemen, your leap, your leap is going to start now. Your leap starts today. I need you to make a decision of what scares you and what you're going to leap into. Because on Friday, I stood on the edge of the UK's highest and fastest zip wire, according to their website. I was scared. My stomach was tight. My knees were shaking, and every part of me wanted to step back into safety. But I didn't step back. I lay down on that platform and I did it scared. And what I got wasn't just half a mile of speed and of views, it was proof. It was proof that fear doesn't own me. And it was proof that joy lives on the other side of taking action. So remember this. Thank you, Kelly. Remember this. Fear is temporary, but regret is forever. The fear you feel today will fade the moment you act, but the regret of not doing something will last you a lifetime. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be willing. And when that fear shows up, smile, acknowledge it, and jump anyway. Okay? Because on the other side of fear is the life that you've been dreaming about. So drop a 7 in the chat if you are ready to take that leap. Take a leap of faith, says Lisa. 7, 7, 7, 7s. I'm seeing those 7s coming through. Absolutely amazing. Let me see some more 7s coming through. 7, 7, 7. Stella, Lauti, James, Vandana, Julia, Angela, Lucy. I'm seeing those 7s. And like every other session, I will always end off with a quote. Fear is not a stop sign. Fear is a green light for growth. Most people treat fear like it's a red stop sign. It's a signal to turn around, to play small or to stay safe. But it's not. It's actually a green light. It's your voice telling you that something important is about to happen, so pay attention. It's fear shows up when you're about to step into that bigger version of yourself, when you're about to grow, stretch, and change the game. Yesterday, was it yesterday? No, it was Friday. Friday, standing on that zip wire platform, my fear wasn't don't do it. It was saying, Michelle, this is the moment you are going to remember. So, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to stop slamming on the brakes every time something scary shows up. When fear comes up, I want you to lean into it. No, I don't want you to lean into it. When fear shows up, I want you to run towards it. That's what I need you to do. Keep running towards the fear because that is your sign that you are exactly where you need to be. And the growth that you are craving for yourself, that you are craving for your business, is just on the other side, ladies and gentlemen. So, with that being said, I just want to remind you, of course, of the Wealth Pioneers group, which is on school. I just keeping a check on the time. My Wealth Pioneers group, which is on school. That is where I have all of my repeats. That's why I have some new sessions coming up that are not part of the academy. So make sure if you're not a part of my school group, make sure you join. The team will be dropping that into the chat shortly. And I'm going to leave you now with the weekly affirmation. And I need you to screenshot it, write it down, do whatever you need to do. But I need you to say it every day. I am braver than my fear. I choose courage. I leap even when I am scared. So I am braver than my fear. I choose courage. I leap even when I am scared. Amazing, amazing. Say this to yourself daily, ladies and gentlemen. And all that's left to say is thank you. I've really enjoyed talking to you about this topic. Feel the fear and do it anyway because I was so scared. I was so scared. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, remember to comment, like, and subscribe.